methods that I'm using for identification of amphibian populations along the Williston Reservoir. I'm using the I3S software. This is the website. Come to this website and you will find the publications and other reference information about the software. The software that I'm going to be using is called I3S Pattern Plus. You can see here that there is an I3S channel on YouTube. I'm going to be giving a specific tutorial on use of I3S Pattern Plus for Western toads. So we're coming over here. Here's a Western toad, and I've uploaded a video of another Western toad, and I'm just going to be giving other examples because you'll find that the skin patterns differ depending on the age and different individuals. And you can also see here this individual has some dirt that didn't get rinsed off. So you can see there's even some dirt patches here. But overall, that is not too much of a problem. What really might be a problem is you can see that this individual is a younger Western toad, so that creates problems in the sense that the belly patch pattern may not be fully developed, and that's something that is an area of research. And you can usually see younger individuals that they have more of yellow on their hands and just the general size. This is individuals probably in its second year. So we mark the lip line as I've shown in the other video, the right gape, and we can see this lip line is here on the left, and you can see here this is an example where the vent area is kind of not completely straight, but that isn't too much of a issue in marking the body, as I'll show in another video where we go through and we'll be doing comparison of all the individuals that I've annotated skin patterns, and we'll look to see if we can identify any individuals that have been recaptured. So I'm just marking out the area that I use for identification along the venter and the belly. This is the wet patch, and so we just cross across the top of the wet patch. And we can see that there is some imprecision in the sense that some individuals are going to have a little bit of a different area of capture. But once again, as we'll learn, that is not a huge problem. So this is the I3S software. I have now gone through and done the right gape, left gape landmarks with the rear vent, and I've selected out my area. Now this right gape may have been a little off, so I can right click on it to take it off, and we can see the lip line comes back. We come in here a little bit. Now we're going to have click on the select foreground pixels, zooming in, the foreground on this individual, it's just very obvious. Just sample all around. There are no real dark spots in the foreground. Some individuals, well, I guess we do see here there is a little bit of yellowing. And sometimes I think as the individuals get older, on the sides here, these even turn a reddish color. So I think that should be fairly comprehensive on the foreground. Now we're going to go into the background. So you can see this is not part of the pattern, and that's going to get captured anyway, and that's not a huge issue. What becomes maybe a bigger issue, as I've stated previously, is that this is a younger animal, and these patches may become larger and more open as the individual becomes older and more prominent as it ages. So it may become difficult to identify this individual as it ages if it is recaptured. And that's part of the process in doing this, is trying to find out if we have recaptured the individuals and what happens to the skin pattern as it ages. Okay, so now I think You can see I've zoomed in here that I've captured a number of pixels, and now this is where it gets really difficult. You have to select a lot of points in here if you're going to get these little patterns. And I think it's more important on younger individuals to really capture these narrow points because as they age and even if they feed, these areas may open up on the skin and would really open the pattern. So I've selected separate the foreground and the background. As we can see, I've now done that, and so then this is the image. So we can, once again, you enter it into the database or insert into the database, pressing Control I or clicking here. So I click here. So now I'm going to name the individual 08-15. You can see I've already named the individual image, and I just keep the name consistent into the database, and that individual is now finished. Now I'm going to do another code. This is a larger individual than the one that I just completed. So we're going to mark our landmarks. As you can see, this western toad is turned around, so we now have the right limb on the other side. We zoom in, find the end of the lip line down to the maxillary, and mark the right and the left landmarks of the gape, and then the vent. As you can see on this individual, it's kind of twisted out because he's got his legs. Sometimes what I do is I follow the ventral line and I offset slightly off the vent area just to make sure that the individual is going to be properly marked in future if it's caught again, if the legs are not turned out. So these toads are anesthetized using Oragel in the field, and then they're put into a camera box and photographed digitally. So we have a digital photographic record of all the individuals that are captured. And so once again, I mark out the area of interest that is going to be annotated. See, once again, sometimes there are what appears to maybe a little bit of debris and dirt. We try our best in the field to clean the animals, but as you can appreciate, sometimes when you're capturing them, it's raining, you've got a lot of soil on your hands. You do the best you can. And it works even with those limitations. This is a very robust approach I've found. And as you will see in another later video when we go through and we try to identify matches. Okay, across the shoulder and link through. And now I'm going to select the foreground colors. See, we've got some of these red and yellow points. That's a natural blemish on the body. Some white. So I really try to select what I think to be the outliers of the foreground color, which are usually along the edge of the body. So if you want the software to really get the pattern, you need to make sure that you get the unusual components. We go for a background. This individual, the background is fairly distinct. Zoom in close to get some of these more difficult to pick out spots. I noticed I didn't collect very much of the foreground here, so I'll just sample around there a little bit, go back to the background. Okay, and let's see if we separate it out what we have. And that looks to me fairly accurate capturing of the pattern. Now I'll insert into the database. So this is now saving this western toad, whose pattern has been annotated into the database, and that will end my video showing the methods of how I annotate western toads. And I will be doing long-coat salamanders in another video. Thank you.